welcome into another Shop My Stash rotation and an update on my project pan. First off, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room here. Please disregard the fact that I have two different eyeshadow looks on. I just got done filming a video that's going to go up exactly 1 week after this video that you're watching now. And in that video, I'm comparing drugstore and high-end eyeshadow and foundation side by side. So I actually also have two different foundations on right now, sneaky sneaky. But the eyeshadow is super obvious because the two palettes that I picked up recently don't have the same colors in them, obviously. So you're gonna just have to ignore that for this video. If you aren't already subscribed and that drugstore versus high-end side-by-side comparison with a wear test sounds interesting to you, please go ahead and subscribe and turn on that notification bell so that you get notified when that video goes up a week from today. So we're gonna go ahead and start out with Project Pan today, and then we'll do the Shop My Stash selections at the end. And just so you know, Shop My Stash is pretty juicy this week or this month I should say, because I made some decisions on some of the products that were in my last Shop My Stash rotation. I'm actually decluttering a little bit today, so stick around if you wanna see that. Okay, first up, I wanna talk about my Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. This is a primer that I've loved for many, many years, but it's very old, and I've been making very consistent progress on this throughout the last few months since I added it to my Project Pan, and then I ran into a problem this time around. So I cannot get the last little bit out of this bottle. The pump cannot suck any more up there, and I tried my best to take apart all of these little pieces here, but the only way I ever got them apart, I would have then not been able to store this anywhere that I do my makeup. And so it got to a point where I was like, okay, I think I just have to call it and sacrifice that last little bit. So I know this bottle is super reflective. It's hard to see kind of my progress there. So I'll pop the photo on the screen. That's the best I can do. I cannot get that last little bit out without essentially getting this all over everything I own. So I am just going to call it done and rotate this out of my Project Pan. Okay, another slight disappointment here. This is my e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil, and I just rotated this in a couple months ago, 2 months ago in July. So I really haven't had this in the project that long. And between July and August, I made no progress. And now in September, I've made a small amount of progress, but it's going very, very slowly. And I'm kind of surprised because I feel like this is such a, it's a formula where I feel like a lot of it's coming off and going into my brows when I use it. I feel like there's a lot being deposited, and then somehow it's like nothing's ever getting used up. But this is the only brow pencil I'm using right now. So I'm using it every single time I do my makeup, and it's just going nowhere. It's going nowhere. I think this is maybe unrealistic for me to finish this in the year of 2021, but that's okay. I'm gonna see how much I can get done, and hopefully I'll have some progress. Unfortunately, on this next one, I had no progress. So this is my Lipstick Queen Trance lipstick. I do love this. I'm wearing it today. I actually wear it a lot, but it's so sheer that barely any comes off of this bullet every time you apply it. And yeah, I think it's just taking me a while. It's just taking me a bit. I'm hopeful that I will actually fully finish this up this year. It's pretty old, and by pretty old, I mean enough years that I don't even know how old. That being said, I absolutely love this lipstick, and it's discontinued. So once I use it up, it's gone, and I don't want to waste it. I don't want to toss it. I really want to get good use out of this before it does go bad. So unfortunately, no measurable progress this time around, but I am hopeful. I'm really hopeful on that one. Here is one that has a ton of measurable progress. This is my Physicians Formula Healthy Powder. I'm actually trying to fully use up this powder before the end of the year, and I really don't want to have to repress it. So I'm just kind of swirling my brush in those outer edges, trying to make some progress. You can see up in this area, I've made a ton of progress, and I'm just hoping to continue down that road with this one. I'm really proud of how much I have used, and I do think I might be able to realistically finish this up in the year. We'll see, only time will tell, but I'm trying really hard to finish it up. All right, one that I did finish up, this is my Milk Makeup Kush Mascara. It's the second of the two minis that I'm counting as one mascara for the year. So I already finished one mini way back in like March, and now I'm finally finishing up this second mini. So that counts as like one product finished for the year. And this is just, it's completely gone. It's dried up. It's like unusable at this point. It just flakes straight onto my face as soon as I use it. And it's good to go. It's done. All right, 2 more products here in my project pan. I can't believe that. This is all that's left. This is my Milani Keep It Full Nourishing Lip Plumper. As you can see, no additional progress. If you're new here, just so you know, this has been in my project since January. That first line is from January. The second line is from like May, and now I still have not made any progress since then. And I think I'm realizing I don't like this lip gloss, which is weird because I think it's a good lip gloss. Like, I think objectively it's a wonderful formula. It's extremely juicy. It's really reflective because it has those like micro glitter particles in there. It makes my lips look so like plump and rich and just beautiful. But I think I'm realizing I don't love how it looks on my face. And that's such a bummer because I've always absolutely adored this lip gloss, or I thought I always adored it. But since I've received some other lip glosses or purchased some other lip glosses or lip oils this year, I'm finding it really hard to reach for this because it is that more like classic sticky lip gloss formula. And every time I wear it, it feels a little uncomfortable and it looks a little too like goopy for my taste. And so I'm just keeping it in here. I'm keeping it in here. We're gonna see what happens. Obviously, I'm not finishing this lip gloss by the end of the year, which was my original goal in January, but we'll see how much I use up. And then the last one. This is an exciting one for me. It's maybe a boring one for you guys, but I am so excited about this. This is my L'Oreal Infallible eyeliner, and the thing happened. And if you've been here a while, you know what I mean by the thing happened because you saw what happened with my eyebrow pencil. It becomes hollow in the center. All of a sudden, you're sharpening your pencil and then there's no product left and it's just like a hollow end. And I compared it to like when you're eating an ice cream cone and you get to the part of the ice cream cone where not even the melted ice cream has gotten down to it yet. And it's like literally just a bite of cone at the end. Like this is just like a hollow shell and there's no more product. And let me tell you, when you are working through a product like this, trying to finish it up, and all of a sudden you still have like 2 full inches of like packaging left, and then you twist and you realize it's completely gone, it is such a satisfying feeling. And I'm so glad to have this one out of here because frankly, it was so old. There's no way I should have been putting this near my eyes. And I do already have a backup brown pencil liner. It's not, it's not anything that I hold super dear to me. So I'm glad to just have it out of my collection and know that I used all of it up. So ultimately, I used up 3 products this week. These 3 guys right here. I keep saying this week. This is not a weekly thing. I do this every 6 weeks, but for some reason, that's what's coming out of my mouth. So in the last 6 weeks, I finished up those 3 products and I'm still working through these 4 items. So yes, that does literally mean that I only have 4 items in my project pan moving forward from here. And I really want to use all 4 of these up. Like all of these, the original goal for them was to fully finish them in the year of 2021. I think having this very small selection will force me to really focus on trying to use them up. I mean, let's be honest, this lip gloss ain't happening, but I want to get a lot of it done. Alrighty, on to Shop My Stash. And as promised, this is going to be a good one. I am rotating some things out. I'm actually decluttering some things, and then I'm rotating some items back in to keep me at that kind of 4 item status for Shop My Stash. So if you're new here, just a quick explanation. I don't have a huge makeup collection. I actually consider myself somewhat of a makeup minimalist from the perspective of someone who's also on YouTube reviewing products, trying out new things, trying new techniques, etc. So I have a relatively small collection. I actually just did a whole collection inventory, a whole makeup collection inventory. If you want to see it, I'll link it in the corner if you're curious to see everything I have. But either way, my point here is just that I don't necessarily like to have a full face of Shop My Stash items at any given time because that would feel really restrictive within my already fairly small collection. So instead, I pick 4 items each rotation that I want to focus some energy on. And sometimes I pick items that I just haven't used in a while and I want to fall back in love with. Sometimes I pick items that I'm on the fence about and I'm not sure if I want to keep them or not. So I sort of use my Shop My Stash maybe a little bit differently than some people do on YouTube. So I just wanted to clear up kind of how I approach this. And now let's go ahead and recap the 4 items that I had in this past rotation. I had a couple cheek products. So I had my Milani Luminoso blush in this past rotation, which I love. That was in there for a couple rotations actually this summer, because the first rotation I had it in here, I actually didn't use it hardly at all, but I loved having it this time around. I used it quite a few times. It's just a really solid orangey peachy blush for the summer. The other cheek product I have is my Smashbox Cali Contour palette. So it's this full face palette. Again, just having something quick and easy to reach for was actually kind of a blessing in disguise. I liked having this in the rotation. It just felt like if I wasn't sure what highlighter I was in the mood for, I reached for this. If I was like, I don't feel like picking a bronzer today, I reached for this. And so I really did get a lot of good use out of this. And it was a relatively new product in my collection, so I wanted to become a little more familiar with the formulas and how I best like to use them. I will say one of the biggest highlights of having this in here was like quick, easy eye looks. I mean, I can get a nice like cool tone look with this contour shade or like warm, summery vibes with these other colors, and so it was surprisingly versatile as an eye palette as well. The other 2 products I had in here, I had the Masquerade Mini palette from Juvia's Place. So this has been one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes for many years. I really love this. I think it's really solid quality, and in fact some of these shimmers over here are some of my favorite shimmers in my whole entire collection. I just absolutely love the tone and the texture of them. But I hadn't been using some of these brighter shades up top, and so I wanted to put this back in the rotation and kind of get a feel for how much I actually think I'll use those sorts of shades in the future. So I kind of just put it back in, played around with it a bit in the past 6 weeks. And then the last thing that I had in the rotation is my Sen Skin Silk foundation. And I put this in for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's a little dark on me, even in like summer, even when my skin is a little more tan. This is still pretty dang dark. And so I just wanted to get some good use out of it while it still matched my skin tone before I start to get pale again in the winter coming up here. And the second reason is because it's very full coverage. And I just have not been reaching for full coverage options very much lately. And I kind of wanted to get a sense of whether this still had a place in my collection or not. So I said I was decluttering some things, and this is maybe going to come as a little bit of a surprise to some people, but I'm decluttering 2 of these items, 2 of the 4 that I had in this rotation. Probably the least surprising is the Sen Skin Silk. I am decluttering this. The shade is just so far off, and with something so full coverage, I can't make it work. I've been trying, I really want to, because genuinely, I think this is a beautiful foundation. It's full coverage, but it's a dewy. So if that's something you're in the market for, check this out. It really truly is so good, and it's at such a good price point for a small, independently owned brand. But the shade is just, it's gonna be a no-go for me. I can't do it anymore. I don't like putting it on because I know that it's not gonna match, and so I never wear it anymore. It also has an extremely strong scent. I think it's like vanilla scented, and now that I've had this, maybe, oh gosh, how long have I had this? Since last summer, so probably about a year. The smell seems like it's getting stronger, and it's really starting to bother me, and it does linger. Maybe it smells that way because it's going bad. Because it's like really strong now. Like it bothered me when I first opened it the very first time, but like it's much worse now. And so the combination of the shade not matching and the extreme vanilla scent, I think it's just time to let it go. The other one that's actually leaving my collection is my Masquerade Mini. It's gonna go. I just thought that if I forced myself to use this palette, I would fall back in love with those brighter shades on the top, and I would remember how much I adore the bottom half of this palette. And to an extent, it did happen. I mean, I will never not love these 2 shimmers. I mean, in particular, this one, I think it's Dahlia. Yeah, this one here, I mean, like, it is just unbelievably beautiful. I love it. But the truth of the matter is I have so many warm brown eyeshadows and I have so many warm brown shimmers that I cannot keep a palette this size for one eyeshadow. So that means that I am keeping my Smashbox Cali contour. That's not a surprise. I basically just got this and I love it. And I am actually going to keep this in my Shop My Stash for one more rotation at least. I just want to keep playing around with it. I can't express to you how much I loved having this in my rotation last time around. So I just want to keep it in here. And my Milani Baked Blush in Luminoso, it's also staying in my collection, but it's rotating out of my Shop My Stash. So I am rotating out 3 items via 1 rotate out and 2 declutters. And then I'm picking 3 new things to go along with that Smashbox palette. So here are those 3 items that I'm adding for this next rotation. The first one up here is yet another cheek product. It seems like I have to rotate through my like blushes and bronzers and stuff like this for me to really truly get good use out of everything when I want to. So I am rotating in my Balmfire blush from The Balm, and this is actually a duo. So I have High Tide here, which is a pink with gold reflex, and I have Low Tide, which is purple with silver reflex. And I absolutely love both of these blushes. I think they're beautiful. They're so stunning, but because they are so glowy, I just think of them as like summery warm weather blushes. I do want to try to get a little bit of use out of them in this last kind of warm section of the year before we transition into winter and like true fall. And then the other 2 things I picked out here are sort of like wild cards in my collection. I decided that I want to get more use out of my Sydney Grace singles and my JD Glow singles. So rather than picking like 2 individual products here, I'm kind of picking 2 broad categories that I feel like I've been neglecting a little bit. My Sydney Grace singles I've had for a long time now. I mean, maybe since like last fall, I think is when I bought these, and I love them. I love them so much. I mean, some of these are the best shadows in my collection. For example, like Tiara is like the best silvery taupe that I have, like hands down. I don't have anything else that's nearly that good. This shade is called Pear Tree, and it's like my fall and winter dreams come true. So I need to be using it as those seasons come up. Sydney Grace really does make some unbelievable eyeshadows. The mattes are kind of, I've got to be honest, they're on the chopping block. It's not that I don't think they're good. I think they're outstanding, honestly. But this one here, this like gray toned one, I'm pretty sure I got a dud. Ever since day 1, it hasn't swatched well. It's been patchy on my eyes, and I've heard from a lot of other people who have that same shade that theirs is completely fine. And so it's really, I think I just got a dud. I got a dud, and so I've been keeping it just to feel like I'm keeping my complete collection here. But I don't know that I need to keep that. And then like looking at these 2, they're basically the exact mattes that are in like my Natasha Denona Mini Nude palette, for example, or like any other warm tone brown palette. And so I don't know that it makes sense to keep them. The shimmers are not on the chopping block at all. I adore them, every single one of them. I think they're beautiful, and I just want to get more use out of them. I want to force myself to love on them a little bit more. And same with my JD Glow shadows. These are not on the chopping block at all in any world. I love all of these. I just especially really want to use these bottom 2 as we get into fall here. I can't wait. This one's pressed and this one's called 365, and it's gold, but it has like a green shift that is so beautiful. In fact, this one and the green from Sydney Grace are almost opposites of each other, where Pear Tree from Sydney Grace, this green here, is a green with a gold flip, and the one from JD Glow is a gold with a green flip. So I almost wonder if I could do something interesting with the 2 of those. But regardless, I really love these shadows from JD Glow. They truly are something completely unique and special. The texture on them is unreal, and I want to pull them out more often. So that's it. These are my little new Shop My Stash items. I'm super excited about this rotation. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you next time.